Om Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Please sit straight and make your limbs comfortable. Close your eyes and try to withdraw your mind and the senses from external disturbances. Meditate on the luminous self in the space of your heart. I will chant Om. After 5 minutes I will again chant Om, when you can slowly open your eyes. Om. Om. So, the fuse of the amplifier has gone off. So the fuse has gone off. See? So because the fuse has gone off, please come closer to the subject. Or come closer. As close as possible. Some people are mortally afraid to come close. They think that I will bite or eat. The last time I checked, I don't eat human beings. You can all come closer. No, really. Seriously, I am saying. Otherwise, I will have to shout. And then... No, this front line is not meant for VIPs. You can come. And everyone is a VIP. Come. Because otherwise... Okay. I will have to shout and make my voice hoarse. So, am I audible to everyone? Shanti mantra. I will chant and please chant after me. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shanti means peace, and we chanted 3 times to get peace from 3 kinds of suffering. Suffering at the individual level, suffering at the level of suffering from other beings, and suffering from divine beings like tsunami, etc. So, to get relief from 3 kinds of suffering, we do this peace chant. Most of you know this, some people don't know. That's why I repeated it again. Death with a difference. We were studying the Katha Upanishad. We call it death with a difference because in truth there is no death for the soul. It's just an illusion that we die. We are never born, we don't die. So death with a difference. Together we will be studying this Katha Upanishad as we are doing it. Last time we started the second canto of the second part of Katha Upanishad, where there is this imagery, the self being compared to a city. Then we saw how the self is immanent and everything is actually the Atman. Then we saw that this, you see, sun, then the sky or Akasha, fire, and also the Soma Rasa. Another meaning of the word was Atiti. One is Soma Rasa, another is Brahmin. And then we saw how things born in water are also, then things born from earth, then things born from mountains, Adrija, etc. Then we saw that the prana, or which is the power of a living being, it goes up, one goes down. You can also compare it with inhalation and exhalation. Then we saw that once the body is freed from once the Atman or the self is freed from the body, what else remains? That is the question. And this is the secret. This indeed is that, means this is the secret of self. Now I come to this mantra now. Today we will again look at this mantra which we saw last time. The mantra is Asya Visram Samanasya Sharirasthasya Dehinaha Dehat Vimuchyamanasya Kimatra Parishishyate. Kim Atra Parishishyate. Atra here, Kim what? parishishyate, remains. Etad vaitad, this is that means this is indeed Brahman. So the question is asked by Yama, who is telling this to Nachiketa, that what remains? Sharirastasya asya dehinaha visramsamanasya. Once visramsamanasya gets detached, what gets detached? This person who is indwelling, living in this body. Just like there is a city, and if the king leaves the city, what remains? Total chaos. Nothing remains, because the citizens themselves can't do anything. So, similarly, this body was compared in the first mantra to a puram, or a city. Now, when the person who is indwelling in the city leaves this body, means the self, this embodied self, we have out of ignorance identified ourselves with a particular body. Chit jada granthi, the confusion or the mixing up of matter and consciousness. Jada, matter. Chit, consciousness. Mixing up or confusing the two, that we have done. Now, because of that, we consider this as ourselves. We consider this body to be ourself. We consider our personality to be at the body-mind level. So, what happens, what remains when the self gives up the body? What remains when you detach yourself from the body? When you go away from this attachment, now you have confused your body to be yourself, your personality. What happens when you do away with this confusion? When you get away from this identification, what happens? Kimatra vimuchyate, parishishyate. There are two ways to find meaning of this mantra. One is that you say that you see, nothing remains after you die. Nothing remains after you die. Whatever you may acquire in this world, wealth, name, relationships, etc., etc., research papers, qualifications, nothing remains after death. Because there will be no one who will be able to claim ownership of these things after you die. So this is one way of looking at that. The other way is, we have been studying till now that the true nature of ourselves is consciousness. Sat Chit Ananda Brahma. So Sat Chit Ananda. Sat, existence, absolute. Chit, consciousness, absolute. And Ananda means bliss, absolute. So absolutely you are what? You always exist, and you are conscious, and you are always supposed to be full of bliss. So if that is your nature, why is it that you never feel it? Why is it that in actual day-to-day lives we never understand that? Why is it? Because the Upanishad again tells the reason. Paranchi khani vetrinat swayambhu. It is impossible for you to look at yourself. You always look at the external things. Why? Because it is difficult for you to look at yourself. So I am not the mic, that is why I am able to see the mic. I am not this chair or sofa, that is why I am able to see the sofa. I am not Professor Somnath ji, so that is why I am able to see him. Like in Upanishads, they use Devadatta, for me Professor Somnath. So always you have to have a generic name, no? Instead of saying Mr. X, Professor Somnath. So because Professor Somnath is not me and I am not Professor Somnath, I see. I am not this mobile, so I see this mobile. But can this mobile see itself? Can I see myself? No. Because I am not different from me. So if I am consciousness, how is that I am going to see consciousness itself? I cannot. Because I am consciousness. So the Upanishad says, or rather implies, that you do it not by directly seeing, but by eliminating. So somebody told me that in this hall, say there are 30 people. Say. So I go on eliminating. I say you go out, you go out, you go out. Please don't take it seriously. I'm just giving an example. So you go out and all that. And finally some meter, maybe there are so many meters. There is gate and there will be meter. For security they use. How many people entered into a mall, etc. So even then the meter is showing one person is there. Then I can come to the conclusion that that one person is me. Similarly, you have to do it with elimination process. Why? Because I cannot say that this is me. Why can't I say that? Because how can I point to myself? Because the moment I point to myself, there will be somebody else. Always in the process of knowledge, there are three factors involved. One is the process of knowledge, another one is what is known, another one is who is knowing. Jnatru or jnata, the knower, and the thing which is known, jnaya, and jnana, the process of knowledge or the knowledge itself. So here, because I know this Nokia phone, this Nokia is the jnaya. I am the jnata, and the process of knowledge or the method which I use is pratyaksha or direct perception. Using my eyes, I see that this is Nokia phone. Because it is separate from me. The moment I will say that I will see me, then that will have to be something which is different from me. Because the moment I say that I will see something, it will be coming in the realm of duality. And it will have to be separate from me. So it is impossible to see me in that sense. And that is why the Upanishads, they use the word, or philosophy uses the word Sat. You remain. You remain. You cannot say that I see myself. No. And that is why they say Swarajya, or they say realization. They don't say self-seeing, but the realization that you suddenly are aware, self-awareness. These are the words which are used. Why? Because you cannot say that I see myself. That is the problem. And that is what the Upanishad is saying here. Kim atra parishishyate? You go through a process of elimination. If you go through a process of elimination, you eliminate everything, and then finally what remains is your true personality, your true nature. How have we confused ourselves with matter? See, for example, Sri Ramakrishna says, you take a vessel, put some potatoes in that, and boil the water. What happens? Potatoes start jumping. Now, can potatoes by themselves jump? No, they cannot. So, how are they jumping? Because they are in the water. Can potatoes put in water jump? No, they cannot. So, how are they jumping? Because there is fire beneath that vessel. So, this fire makes water boil, and it makes water also appear like jumping. And because these potatoes are there in the water, they also start jumping. Can a body, human body, move? Can it think? No, it cannot. If it were true, then all corpses, all mortuary departments will become alive. So it is not possible. But why it is happening? Because this fire of consciousness is behind. Because you are identifying yourself with a body, so the body starts jumping. You see, like a hot rod. See, rod. We see an iron rod. Now, iron rod, will it be hot? By nature, nobody says that the physical properties of an iron rod is it is hot. No. But if you heat it, if you make it hot, then it may also become red hot. And then if you touch it, then you will burn your fingers, etc. So what happens? Where does this property of burning come on that rod? From fire. It comes from the fire. But in that case, can you differentiate fire from the iron rod? Can you? You cannot. They have become one. The iron rod has become hot, red hot iron, and it has become so hot because of fire in it, but then you cannot differentiate fire from the rod. So that's what happens. We have confused consciousness with matter to such an extent. Chit jada granthi, not. K-N-O-T, not N-O-T, not. K-N-O-T, not. So like in scouts, they teach you to make different knots and also untie knots. Knots can be very problematic, and in life some problems are very naughty also. Not N-A-U-G-S-T-Y, but K-N-O-T-T-Y. Some problems are also N-A-U-G-S-T-Y. Anyway, as the case may be, so these naughty problems. And some experts will be there in every house who are good at removing knots. What does it need? It needs, what does it need? How do you remove a knot or untie a knot? Patience. It needs patience. Knowledge, of course, that knowledge everybody has, but it needs patience. As we will see in the Upanishad also, earlier also we have seen, Kaschid dhiraha pratyagatman aichat. Some people who were dhiraha, knowledgeable, wise people, but also they had patience. So this dhira, dhairya is very much important. You hold on to. Dhr is the root from which dhairya, dharana, dharma, so many words come. So if you know this root, you will understand the significance of the word. Dhr, same. What does it mean? Dharayati, which is the basis. So how are you patient? Because you hold on to your basis. How do you become patient? Because you hold on to the basis. What is the basis? That you are the consciousness. If you know that, then you hold on to that. That will not change. Whatever may change. But the fact that you are consciousness will never change. If you hold on to that, automatically you become patient. In the devotee's language, sab kuch Ram ki ichha hai. Sab kuch Ram ki ichha. That is the basis. If you hold on to it, everything is Lord's will. Then so many things may change. There may be suffering, there may be happiness, but this will not change. So that you hold on, and that is how you get patience. You see, Sanskrit is a very beautiful and intelligent and logical language. The moment you know the root, you can understand the meaning. Dhr, from there you have dhairya. So dhr is basis. So from basis you get patience. And if you know your basis, if you know your roots, if you know your true identity, you can be patient. So because you cannot objectify yourself, because the subject can never be objectified, you have to understand the subject through a process of elimination. Not this, not this, not this, na iti, na iti, na iti, neti, and then you come to understand that you are. So another thing is, if you are always going to place your personality at the dimension of body and mind, then what will happen? One fine day or one very bad day, because the day you die may not be very fine for you. So one fine morning or a very bad morning, you may just kick the bucket. So kicking the bucket, potal tula, na? In Bengali. So kicking the bucket, potal tula, these are all different kinds of adages for the most dreaded thing, that we will die. But why should people dread this? Why should be people afraid of this? Well, let us all have an appointment with death. So why? Because death is illusory. Death is illusory. So we will have to understand our own personality before that. How do you do that? That is what here the Upanishad is telling us. Dehat vimuchya manasya kimatra parishishyate. You have to analyze. You can read this in a different meaning also. Dehat vimuchya manasya kimatra parishishyate. So you see, we are placing our personality at the dimension of body. Now just remove body. I am there. I. From I, if you remove body, what remains? That is the question. Am I the body alone? So from me, if you remove the body, what remains? So love. It cannot have a bodily dimension. Only bodily dimension it cannot have. A mother's love. Only bodily dimension it cannot have. Even knowledge for that matter. You cannot have a brain is necessary, of course. But some people prove otherwise. Even without brains they can live. Not technically, figuratively. But brain is necessary. Then how with only brain can you get knowledge? Is there not something higher which is necessary? So if you see that, if you remove body from your personality, what remains? If you remove mind from your personality, what remains? If you remove prana from your personality, what remains? That is what we have already seen, Panchakosha Vichara. The meditation or contemplation on the 5 sheaths of your personality. What are the 5 sheaths? Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. So if you remove all these things, Kim atra parishishyate, what remains? You have to check. Tata kim, tata kim, tata kim, that should be the question. What next, what next, what next? Okay, so if somebody, a small child is here. So if this small child thinks that now my father has brought here to some person talking something which I cannot understand. So anyway, this father has brought me here. Now airpore ki hobe? He may take me to house. Then ki hobe? আমি একটু ভালো কিছু খাবো, তারপরে কি হবে, what will happen next, what will happen next. So a person starts the life, then you think that now I go to IIT study, then what will happen, then I do MTech, then what will happen, then I do PhD, then what will happen, then I will also teach some other people, then what will happen, I will publish research papers, then what will happen, I will marry, then what will happen, I will have kids, then what will happen, they will also go to IIT, what will happen, then they will also do research, what will happen, what next. So the moment you start thinking, you understand that this is all a straight-jacketed approach towards life. The cyclical nature of life, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, somehow I cannot overemphasize this. I never get tired of punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. You know what? Actually quoting is nothing. We are always doing it and we don't get tired. We are always taking birth again and again and we are never tired. So why should be one tired to just tell the fact? Punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. You do this. And it is so, if you just think about it, it's so meaningless. What meaning is there? You die, again you take birth, again you come to IIT, again you die, again you take birth, again you go to say MIT, why only IIT? MIT, and then you again die, again take birth, and then again and again and again and again you do this. What do you gain? Nothing. No new invention, no new discovery, nothing. No knowledge. So the same thing is going on in a cyclical nature. That is why the Upanishads want us to discern, to have this viveka, to think, to apply our wisdom. What are we going to do? I am entering into a relationship today. Tomorrow I am leaving this, again in Facebook. You see, this is very simple. I have told it earlier also here. What is this? Single, committed, married, complicated, single. Then again it starts. Single, committed, married, complicated, single. Okay, nowadays complicated can be anywhere else. No? You can punctuate your relationship with different complicated status. So this is what. You do this again and again and again. And what? Sri Ramakrishna puts it very eloquently. He says, childbirth gives so much pain. But then again, nobody is fed up of these things. No? You know that this will cause me pain, but again you do that. You know that your sugar level is high, but again you will go for this Kesidas Rasagulla. And some people will go for the diabetic version of it. It will increase the calorie anyhow, but people will go for the diabetic version. They say, oh, it's diabetic, it has got no sugar free, but it has got that cheese, so it will anyway increase your calorie. So we can't. This process is again in Bhagavad Gita, this desire. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. You know that. Not that we are all fools. We all know that this is where I am going to end up. Knowing that fully well, you will again do it. Because of the strong pull of desire. That's why the Upanishad says, think. Kim matra parishishyate. What is going to remain here? What is going to remain here? So, there is a wonderful Kavali. If Dhalta Suraj, Chadta Suraj, Dhire Dhire Dhal Jayega. How many of you have heard this Kavali? It's a wonderful song. You can, of course, now Google and Nama, you will get everything. Dhalta Suraj, Dhire Dhire Dhal Jayega. Udta Suraj, Chadta Suraj, Dhire Dhire Dhal Jayega. Means your life, maybe now in the ascending order, no? Then it will come in the descending order. And slow everything. First is Jayate, Asti, Vardate. Afterwards, everything goes down, deterioration. Then Viparinamate, Apakshiyate and Nashyati. So it's all going to go. Either it is going to be a cremation ground, means it's a burial ground, or a crematorium. Only that is the difference. Either you are going to be in a coffin or total asti, and somebody will be either, depending on your luck, you will be either put into Ganga or something like that. So depends. That is what is going to happen. Nothing great is going to happen. This is what is going to happen. Kimatra parishishyate. What is going to remain here? Do we think about that? Do we think about that? So this question has been thought about by various people. I would like to share one anecdote here. Not anecdote, actual incident. So what happened? There was this person who was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu has got many forms, you see. in Vrindavan he is Krishna, or in Mathura he is Krishna, because Vrindavan the presiding deity is Radharani, not Krishna. So in Mathura he is Krishna, because Mathura if you go to everyone will say Jai Shri Krishna, and if you go to Vrindavan everyone will say Radhe Radhe. In fact, even today people will not say Suniye etc. They will say Radhe Radhe. So if somebody does not have bell, they will say Radhe Radhe. Means that is very nice. All of you who have gone to Vrindavan will know. So this personality of Vishnu, who was worshipped by this devotee, was called Guruvayurappan. How many of you know about Guruvayurappan? I know at least one person should be knowing. But yes. So there is a place called Guruvayur, and there is this deity. So this person's name is Pundanam. His name was Pundanam. So what happened is, you see, you are all aware of that rice feeding ceremony. It's called Annaprashan in Bengali. So when the child comes to a particular age, you conduct that ceremony, you call everyone. So this person also got a child and he conducted the ceremony. So before that everyone comes from, say, many places, and they throw away their used dress, dhoti, etc., and they wear new clothes for the function. That is how it is. At least in the olden days it was like that. So they took bath, etc. Then finally when the time of the function came, when the child had to be fed food, rice, that is, child was not to be found. Mostly it is what happens, in birthday party the child is the most neglected. Everyone has got their own agenda. So finally they searched, and then they found that the heap of clothes which were discarded by people, underneath that the child was there and suffocated and died. So this was imagine the Putra Shoka is considered to be the biggest suffering or sorrow a parent can have. So Pundanam was totally devastated by this. So what he did, he took there are various versions of this account, but this is the version which I know. It took the child's body and went to Guruvayurappan, and he sang a song. So now that song is called Jnana Pana. Now Pana in Malayalam means pot. So a pot of knowledge. But there is another meaning of this Pana. Pana is a meter, a particular meter in Malayalam poetry. So that's called Pana. So Jnana Pana or Jnana Pana, whatever. So that is a wonderful song. It begins like that. So it says that till yesterday we did not know what will happen, and we don't know what will happen tomorrow also. We are not aware of what will happen tomorrow, and we were not aware till yesterday what will happen today. So this is what, and still you see that people die in front of you. Kandu irikkum janangale kandilennu varuthunadum bhavan. So you see in front of your eyes that people are dying, but still you are under the illusion. Mahat Ashcharyam. This question was asked by Yaksha to Yudhishthira. What is the greatest surprise? So everyone Gacchati Yamalayam, everyone goes to the abode of Lord, not like Nachiketa went, but people actually die and go. So they go, and that yet they see everyone going, but they think that they themselves are somehow exempted, like income tax exemption. Somehow they are exempted from going to this. This is a huge surprise, biggest surprise. The same thing Pundanam says, Kandu kandangirikkum janangale kandilennu varuthunadum bhavan. So you are seeing in front of you. Kandu means seeing. You always see. Janangale means you are seeing people dying. And also, but at the same time, you think that you will not die. This is also happening. This is a wonder which is happening because of Bhavan. Who makes this kind of illusion? Also God. It's because of God that we are all in such illusion. So they say. So you see, he went on singing like that, and Pundanam's story is wonderful. I wrote about this in Prabhupada Bharata sometime back in September 2009. So you have online, you can read about this person. There is another incident about this Pundanam, that I don't know how far it is historically true, but anyway, it is an anecdote. There was a person called Melpattur Bhattatri. So he wrote, which is called Narayaniam, which is a short version of Bhagavatam, or condensed Bhagavatam it is called. So there is a beautiful translation of Narayaniam by Tapasyanandaji, published by Ramakrishna Math, Chennai. So this Narayaniam he wrote, and he used to daily have, before breakfast he used to meet Guru Vairappan and talk to him and then have breakfast. That is the kind of devotion he had. And Guru Vairappan used to talk with him, general things, and then he used to come to his house. So once Pundanam wrote something in Malayalam and he wanted Bhattadri to go through that text, because he was a great scholar. He was a great scholar. So he wanted to go through the text and tell him whether it is correct, whether there is a grammar mistake and all. So Bhattadri said, what? You have written it in Malayalam. Malayalam means it is, those days you see, all scholars used to use Sanskrit. So Malayalam was like today if somebody says, I have written it in Hindi, oh, you don't know English, like that, because our language, this prejudice remains somehow. So he said, oh, Malayalam, okay, keep it there, I am busy. If I have time, I will see. So after so many days, he got time, and then he saw, and so many mistakes. He means full thing was like red ink. I'm just imagining whether red ink was there or not, I don't know. But anyway, he cut it, struck it everywhere, and so many mistakes, and he gave. So Pundanam was a great devotee. So he saw that and he said, yes, Melpattur. What happens to devotee? In the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which talks about the angelic and demonic qualities, or Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga. So Daivasura Sampad, the qualities of divine qualities, Daiva Sampad and Asura Sampad, or demonic qualities. So what does it say there? Arjavam, straightforwardness. People who are devoted, who are truly divine, they have this straightforwardness. They believe in people. They believe, they have inherent faith in them. They don't doubt everyone. See? So the crooked people, people who are as straight as a jalebi, they doubt everyone. See? So that is what. So this Arjavam Pundanam had. So he did not question the ability of Bhattadri. He said, yes. So he was so much upset that I wanted to offer a hymn to Guru Vairappan, and it is so bad. My work is so bad. So how will God accept it? So he was crying that I am not even fit to write something which can be offered to him. So you see, Guru Vairappan is concerned, no? Lord is concerned when devotee cries. So Guru Vairappan, what did he do? Next time Bhattadri went to meet us. Actually he used to go to the temple and see the Lord and talk and then come. That is what the legend says. So it says that, you see, I prefer the bhakti of Pundanam than the vibhakti, than your vibhakti. Vibhakti is the declination in Sanskrit which is used. So I prefer Pundanam's bhakti to your vibhakti. So he said, and then he said that you think you have written a great thing, Narayaniam. So he showed so many mistakes in Narayaniam. So many Sanskrit mistake, that mistake, this mistake. So you see, I prefer his bhakti to your vibhakti. So this is there always. In Tamil literature, there was a saint, Agastya Muni, we all know. So somehow it is understood that he was from those parts of the country, from Tamil Nadu. So there he wrote something called Agastya Agaval. It's a kind of a poem. So there he says that Lord of Death, Yama, he will not wait for you. If you say that I am a great person, do you know whom I am? So this may work for traffic cops, but for not Lord Yama. No, traffic cop part I have added. There it is only Lord Yama. He says it will not. And if you say that I am such a good person, please leave me, that will also not happen. And if you say that I am very wealthy person, leave me, that will also not happen. If you say that not now, come after some 1 hour, that will not happen. So you have to go whenever that Lord will come, or you may not be, even some of his peons may come and take you. So whosoever comes, you will have to go. That you cannot change. That is what. So this is the essence. This is the basic thing behind every religious system. The question of death. The question which started Katha Upanishad. Asti iti chaike, nayam asti iti chaike. What happens to me after death? Some people say that I remain. Some others say that I don't. This is a pertinent question. You see, in Tibetan Buddhism, there is a whole scripture devoted to dying. No? Some translation is there which is called the Tibetan Book of Dying. So, how you should die, how you should give up the body, how the corpse should be cremated, how you should meditate on the corpse, etc., etc. So, in Buddhist tradition, there are elaborate things about death and dying. In Christianity also, in Islam, see, they say Judgment Day. Because what happens to death? You see, in Egyptian tradition, this was a big confusion for them. That is why they said, let us not take any risk, make a pyramid and keep mummify the body, let it be preserved. Because whether the person has gone out and again this person will come, we don't know. No, we don't know. What happens? A person who knows catering knows that there are different ways where you have to, in dining there are rules where you have to keep your chair. So suppose you have going to the restroom, then you will have to keep your chair in a particular position so that the waiter knows that you are going to come back. Otherwise, by the time you come, your table will be clear. So people didn't know whether you will come again, whether you are coma. And those days we didn't have so much of equipment. So they said, okay, let us not take chance, make a pyramid and keep the body with all the necessary implements which will be required for this person. And interestingly, it is now some archaeologists have found out that pyramid can be opened from the inside. So probably there are a lot of tombs which have been found out archaeologically which could be opened from the inside. In fact, there is a lot of popular media, film and also fiction based on this. You can open a tomb from the inside. Why did somebody create a tomb which could be opened from the inside? For this precise reason, because they thought that the person will again return to the body. So you see, we don't know. This is a question which has always mystified us, which has always eluded us. We don't know what happens to us after death. And that is why precisely the Upanishad says, since you don't know, don't take any chances, be a good human being to begin with. To begin with, be a good human being. Why? We will come to that later in detail. You see, now I told you that because I am not the mobile phone, I am able to see this mobile phone. Because I am not this mic, I am able to see the mobile mic. Because I am not Professor Somnath, I am able to see him. So, how do I actually see me? It is not possible. Then what I do? I eliminate. So what happens? What happens? If I eliminate everything, what happens? I have 5 sheets covering my personality. Everything goes away. Only consciousness remains. What happens? There will be no mind. That is what is called in Buddhism as nirvana. What is called in Vedanta as nirvikalpa samadhi. To quote one very famous, saint from the south again, Tamil Nadu, Arunagiri Nadar. How many of you know about him? Okay, 2 people know that. I anyway knew that you should be knowing. So he wrote a book called Kandar Anubhuti. Kandar Anubhuti. Anubhuti, you know what is the meaning of experience. And Kandar is, the experience of Kandar means Kartikeya. So he says there, Ana amude ayilvel arase, Jnana karane navilat tagumo, Yanagi verum ennai virungi tanai nilai nindradu tatparame. Means, Ana amude ayilvel arase, etc., etc. What the meaning is, you see, navilat tagumo, is it possible for me to, or will it be proper for me, tagumo, will it be proper for me to talk about this consciousness? Navila means to talk. Tagumo, will it be proper or is it possible or proper? There can be 2 meanings. To talk about consciousness. Na tatra vag gacchati. Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna says that you cannot. Everything, the moment you utter it becomes, so if this can never be told. It can never be told. You can never tell about Brahman. You can never tell. Because the moment you start telling, it will come into the dualistic plane and you cannot do that. So, Navilat Tagumo, it is not. Then what will happen? Yanagi ennai virungi. You have to swallow. It's a figurative language. You have to swallow the ego. You will have to swallow the ego. If you swallow the ego, means if you eliminate the ego, Verum Tanai Nilai Nindrathu Tatparame. Verum Tanai means alone, without any support. Wonderful it is. Without any support, because it is its own support. No, it doesn't need any other support. Tanai Nilai Nindrathu Tatparame. The ultimate reality, Brahman, will stand of its own. It will stand of its own. So what we need to do? We will have to go to the Adhyasa Bhashya of Shankaracharya, Brahma Sutra, the introduction to Brahma Sutra commentary. What does he say? Bhoktritva Kartritva. The sense of doership and the sense of ownership. We will have to give it up. So, Yanagiye ennai viringi. I, this whole I, this distinct personality I is given to me by ignorance. There is no such personality. I think that because of ignorance. Why? Because I think I do this. So I will have to give it up. The moment I give it up, I will become free and it will remain. What is truth will remain. So see, in the olden days, people used to talk also great things. Now people talk very mundane things. Anyway, so in the olden days, I was witness to some such incident, so I will share. I was talking about this Pundanam Jnanapanam. So there was a function in one house. So a marriage ceremony or something. So many old croonies or old buddhis and all have come there to that function. So this buddhima always have something to talk and fight. So it so happened that a family which was doing well became very bad. Later on, somehow their financial condition deteriorated. And a family who were not that good had suddenly become prosperous. This always happens in the world suddenly. So this person was taunting the other old woman that you see what happened. So how did they do? Usually what will happen? Oh, what do you have? You don't have this vehicle, or you don't have this, my grandsons are studying there, etc. But interestingly, they didn't do that. We see in the life of Swami Vivekananda, that Swami Vivekananda, when he was Narendranath Datta, he learnt Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc. from his grandmother and mother. So that tradition, how to inculcate these values, these manuals, this mythological tradition into these people. So what did this person say? One person said that Maliga Mugaleriya Mannande Tolil Marap Ketanadum Bhavan. What does that mean? It means Maliga Mugaleriya Mannande, the king Mannan, who lives in the big house, palatial building. Tolil Marap Ketanadum Bhavan. Marap means a rag or a old bag which a beggar carries. So Bhavan means God. So Pundanam is addressing the whole thing to God. So he says that a person who is in the palatial building and also been made rank. In Hindi there is a Raja ko bhi rank bana dega. Bhagavan. So a Raja can be made into a beggar. So that is what one old woman told. I was there. I was a small boy. So I was listening to this. Quite interesting. So as soon as he told that, immediately the other old woman shot back. What did she reply? She said, Rendu nalu dinam kondoruthande Tandil Rendu nalu dinam kondoruthane Tandil eti narthunadum bhavan. Tandu means when somebody dies, you carry that this thing na arthi. You carry it on. So that is called tand. So in 2 or 4 days, means it's a figurative expression. In few days, rendu nalu dinam kondoruthane tandil eti nadathunadum bhavan. You can, a person can die. That is the idea. So this old woman said that, you see, you were very wealthy people. Now what has happened to you? And that immediately she said, you may have wealth now, but one day you will die. So it was wonderful. Even now, after so many years, I remember this. See, that is what, if we have, I was telling that to somebody just before coming here, if we can inculcate a habit of dwelling in higher thoughts, it always helps us. We will see that later on. We will see that. So you see, it always helps us if you have a higher thinking process. You, instead of thinking something very mundane, that what will I eat, what will I dress, all these things, you think, what will happen? Last time also I was talking about Navadware, etc., or 11, etc. So the body is disassociated with the Atman, or the Atman leaves the body, etc. They say, spirit leaves the body. So what happens? So most of the people, it leaves out from the lower exits. Why? Because they are always thinking, they are always living at that level. So if you can live at a higher level, you will always be thinking of higher things. And that is what. So now, kim atra parishishyate. So now, we will go to the next mantra. I will chant this mantra full, and then I will chant it again, then you can repeat after me. Na pranena na apanena martyo jivati kaschana itarena tu jivanti yasmin etau upashritau. Now you can chant after me. Na pranena na apanena martyo jivati kaschana itarena tu jivanti itarena tu jivanti yasmin netau upashritau. What does that mean? It means that kaschana martyaha, any mortal being. Martyaha means mortal being. Martya comes again from the root mrit, means something which can die, something which can perish, from mrityu. So martya means one who can die, is called a martya. So mortal means a person who will die. Kaschana martya, any mortal being, anybody. Kachana, that is the breaking of that this derivation of this word. Kaschana means kaha means who, chana means anybody. So anybody can die. Anybody who dies, or any mortal being, pranena na jivati, does not live by prana. We generally think that prana, vayu has gone away, so we have died. So say, no, you don't live by prana. You don't live by the inhalation of air, or you don't live by this metabolism, anabolism, etc. Why? Because if that were true, air remains in you. When somebody dies, there is a lot of oxygen in your body. Blood is also there, everything. But for God only knows, GOK, your suddenly pumping stops. No. So everything is intact. All the hardware is there. Suddenly software license expires. So why does that happen? That happens because the spirit has gone out of the body, or the consciousness has gone out of the body. Na apanena. Also, not by prana, not by apana. We will see there are different type of pranas. 5 mahapranas, 5 upapranas. So na apanena, not by exhalation of air also. Itarena tu jivanti, but it lives by something else. Yasmin etau upashritau. And on these two, this something else, these two, prana and apana, depend. This prana and apana depend on something else, that is your true personality, consciousness. So don't think that you will die by closing your nostrils. No? Most of the times you are not able to. Some people will try this like this. It is the most dumbest way to die. That doesn't work. Because after some time you will say, because it's like you have already decided you don't want to die. Then other things I have already told you. If anyone is contemplating suicide, please don't purchase this poison, because lot of adulteration is there. Then also ropes don't work, and even if they work, civil construction's quality is very bad. And train to bhool hi jaiye, because trains all run very late. No, one intelligent person like me, you all may know the joke, but still I will share it. Intelligent person like me went to the railway track for dying, obviously. So one friend went there and asked, "Aap yahan kis liye aaye? Why have you come here?" So, because I want to die. So I said, "But what is that with you?" I said, "Tiffin box." So, "Why have you brought tiffin box?" "Na, train late bhi ho sakti hai na. So why waste? Why go hungry? Let us have our full before dying." So anyway, people who want to die, some people they cut I know a person who now and then cuts the veins. No, but no, that is not the point. The point is very interesting. Now it's a she. Now somehow he found that she are more prone to cutting the veins. That procedure of suicide is more common among the fair sex, which is very unfair. But she cuts the vein. And she makes sure that she does it in such a place that she will be noticed within 5 minutes maximum, or 2 minutes. No? She makes sure that everyone is there in the house, and then nobody has seen her for the last 2 hours, and it is nearing eating time when people will call you for the food. And then she goes to the bathroom and cuts. And she was taken to the psychiatrist, and psychiatrist says that she has got serious attention seeking problem. She is not going to die anyway, but she will make sure that you are all dead. So anyway, suicide people do, and some people close, they try to suffocate themselves. It will not happen till you give up the consciousness with the body. That's why what happens when a person commits suicide, what happens? They become bhoot. Why do you become bhoot? Because your prarabdha is there. The effects of the actions which you performed in the previous births are there, and you have to face those actions. No, they commit suicide, and now you have so many ghost stories in Bollywood also. So you can see and verify my statement. So they commit suicide, and then they will be nearby the same family where they were there before dying. What is the use? They will be coming as ghosts. So he said, Chato, you be in body. You will not be able to leave it. Why? Because you are not able to leave the attachment. You are not able to leave the association. So just by committing suicide, you cannot cure the problem. You will be actually coming there and seeing all nonsense things. So you commit suicide, and then you will see that you're, I'm just telling, I don't mean specifically to anyone. Maybe your wife will remarry or something, or the vice versa. Husband will remarry, and you will have all the more, suffering. So why do such things? The idea is, etau upashritau. Both this prana, inhalation and exhalation, are dependent on the consciousness. And when consciousness leaves the body, body dies. Not when the prana or the apana leaves. Now talking about prana and apana, you see, these are 5, is it visible? Okay, 5 Mahapranas. So, prana is the vital energy which controls heartbeat and breathing. Apana is the vital energy which controls excretion. Now, if somebody thinks that it does not need energy, ask people who are patients of constipation. Udana is something, no, I am quite serious, no, it is a really serious problem. Then udana is something which gives you sound. I need not lot of udana today because no amplifier. Samana is something which gives you digestion. This is again another problem which many people have, indigestion. Vyana is expansion and contraction. Necessary in muscles, we always need to expand, and figuratively also we need to expand, not contract. Swami says expansion is life, contraction is death. Then there are 5 upapranas. This naga, burping, is also an energy. Then kurma is necessary for blinking. So blinking is such a small function of our body, we think so. So recently one Swami had to suffer for 1 full day. One of his eyes was not blinking. So it can be really serious. So some nervous problem. So you see, blinking is not that, though we say that if a person constantly blinks, we consider that person a fool, particularly if that blinking is following after a question answer session or something. Somebody you ask a question, you ask a question, and you just blink. People who like Sanskrit, they have this tendency to make everything Sanskritized, no? So suppose you are asked anything Sanskrit, so you don't know the Sanskrit word, so people generally think, particularly some purohits, priests who are there for temple puja, they don't know proper Sanskrit. So their idea of Sanskrit is you add visarga to every word, it is Sanskrit. So they say namaha, gataha, means those even which has no visarga. So they will add everything aha, they will say. So like that, people who like Sanskrit, they say blinkasya. Means blinkasya means this fellow is blinker. Anyway, that also needs a prana, which is called kurma, and devadatta, yawning. Imagine, we think that when our energy levels are very low, then we yawn.